Hello dear aspirants, so today Edify IAS Academy is conducting the topper deck. Today we have with us one of the topper K S B Pruthviraj, all India rank 57 of UPSC IFoS 2022. So heartily welcome to Pruthviraj sir to this session. Welcome sir.
Thank you sir. Everyone, as sir introduced, I am Pruthviraj KSB and I have secured All India rank 57 in the UPSC Indian Forest Service exam for the year 2022. And today I will be mainly discussing with you about the strategy to crack the UPSC's Civil Services and Indian Forest Services prelims examination. And I will also give you a brief overview about the Indian Forest Services mains examination and the personality test. So beginning with the prelims examination, in the recent, for the last 2-3 years, we have been seeing very unpredictable nature of the questions that are coming in the UPSC. And for this you need, if you follow certain basic steps, I think prelims should not be a very difficult stage for you to crack. And the three most important things that I insist for you to follow to clear the UPSC prelims examination is first is the NCERT textbooks, second is analyzing the previous year question papers, and the third one is following the newspapers religiously. So we will take them one by one. Coming to the NCERT textbooks, ideally you should read the NCERT textbooks from 6th standard to 12th standard, especially for main subjects like geography and history. However, in history you can skip those textbooks which have portions like world history, because those are not very relevant for the prelims examination. So leaving those few textbooks aside, you should follow the NCERTs very religiously. And we have been getting very direct questions in the prelims examination, so ignoring NCERT textbooks would be a fatal mistake. And after you get the basic foundation through these NCERT textbooks, you should also keep a tab on the previous year questions. There is a very consistent pattern in the UPSC examination. Questions often gets repeated. Even if the questions do not get repeated, at least the themes will be repeated. Parallelly, when you start reading the basic textbooks like NCERT, you should also be looking at the previous year question papers. You can choose any compilation of the previous year question papers that is arranged subject wise. And so let's say if you are starting with the history textbook, you should first go through the previous year question papers of the history. Then you will get a fair idea on what is the demand of the UPSC and what are the areas that you should focus on. And so then the whole process of reading and accumulating knowledge becomes more directed, and you will not waste time reading unnecessary stuff. So analyzing the previous year question papers becomes very important. So always keep that compilation of the previous year question papers by your side. And by analyzing the previous year question papers, I do not just mean that you glance through them in a very casual way. I mean micro-analysis. Micro-analysis means you should analyze the every keyword given in every question, every option. What is the inspiration behind that question? How is it related to the current affairs? How is it related to the static syllabus? How the current affairs and the static syllabus has been interlinked? And what are the possible questions that may come in the future? So if you can think along these lines when you are going through the previous year question papers, then the whole exercise of reading for this exam becomes easy, and you won't waste much time. So after the previous year question papers, you should also be thoroughly reading the newspapers. I cannot emphasize on this much, because newspapers are the cornerstone of the prelims examination. Even in the mains examination, most of the questions will be directly inspired from the newspaper. And if you develop that habit of reading the newspaper, you will have many advantages. One is that you follow an issue over a period of time, and that sorts of sticks to your head, and you will be able to analyze the question in a more holistic way. And even if you do not know the answer, by looking at the options, you can somehow eke out the answer because you have that background knowledge that is accumulated by reading the newspaper. So, and the second advantage is the reading the editorials will help you in answer writing. And the whole demand of the mains examination is that you have to express you have to express your ideas, and you have to express the knowledge in a very concise way, and you have to give a nice introduction. You have to cover all the dimensions in the body, and you have to give a very positive and optimistic conclusion. So if you read the newspaper and the editorials regularly, you will develop that art of expression. So reading the newspaper becomes very important. And even while reading the newspapers, if you have thoroughly analyzed the previous year question papers, and if you know the syllabus well, you will realize that you should not read very political news items or very in-depth economic analysis and sports sections. You can all ignore that. And the core issues that are directly relevant for you in this exam, that is the issues that are directly related to the syllabus given by the UPSC. So if you focus on them over a period of time, you will get a very holistic understanding of the current affairs, and you will also know what should be the static component of the current affairs that you should be focusing on to approach any question, be it in the prelims or in the mains examination. Now you are done with your preparation, and now on the day of the examination, what should be your mindset? So first thing I would suggest is you should be absolutely calm, because when you are tensed, even the questions that you know very well, you may not be able to answer them. You make bad decisions, you choose the wrong options, and then you will be out of the list. So firstly, you should develop that calmness, and that happens over a period of time. So the role of the mock test is that you develop that exam temperament. So if you can be calm, and if you have that presence of mind during the exam and in the examination hall, if you are not disturbed by anything, then then your instincts will serve you well, and you will be able to answer those questions even if you do not know the answer. Somehow you will be able to derive the answer through some lateral knowledge or some tangential thinking. You will be able to solve those questions. So try to develop that calmness. So for this, you should not be thinking too much about the results or the what would happen if you do not clear this exam, because those are not in your control. What is in your control is that there are 100 questions in front of you, and how will you answer those questions? So for that, you should be absolutely be in the moment. You should have that presence of mind. You should be focused. You should be calm, and you should not be disturbed. So this whole practice would take a few months, especially for freshers. So if you dedicate at least 5 months for this whole development of this good temperament and development of your knowledge base, then prelims should not be your problem. And since I have cleared this prelims examination for the Indian Forest Services examination as well, the cutoff will usually be 15 marks higher than the civil services examination. So if you are looking forward to clear the Indian Forest Services examination, you should also try to attempt more number of questions, because since the cutoff will be more, you should also be ready to take that risk. And you will get that courage to take the risk only if you have done your preparation well. So you should have practiced well, you should be very thorough with your concepts, and then attempting at least 85 questions is what is necessary to clear the Indian Forest Service cutoff as well. So now I will talk about the Indian Forest Service mains examination. In the Indian Forest Service mains examination, there will be 4 main papers. So one is the general English, the second is the general knowledge, and the 2 other papers will be your 2 optional subjects. So Indian Forest Services mains examination will be more predictable in the sense that more weightage is for the optionals, and the good thing is that you can choose your optional subjects. So if you can choose the optional subjects that you are comfortable with, then at least 2 subjects will be sorted for you, And with the preparation that you are done for the prelims, you should be able to attend the general knowledge paper as well. So that way, that leaves us with the general English paper. Even general English paper is not so difficult. However, that does not mean that you neglect it completely. You should put in the required amount of basic studies. You should go through the previous year question papers. You should solve the grammar questions. They are very important. There will be grammar questions for at least 50 marks. So if you know what are the kind of questions that are asked for in the grammar section, and if you know on the remaining sections as well, be it the essay or the letter writing, report writing, these are all very common questions, and they will appear every year. So if you have that structure in place, and if you know what to write if a question is asked, and if you have prepared that well, even general English paper should not be very difficult. And general knowledge paper, you can do it with the prelims knowledge, and the optional subjects, you should choose them very wisely. You should be able to cover them in the time gap. If you are giving both the civil services mains and the Indian Forest Services mains, you will have roughly about 60 days. So you should be able to cover those optional subjects in that very short window. And if you have a common subject with the civil services mains examination, then that would not be very difficult to manage. However, if you are choosing 2 new optional subjects, you should work that much extra hard. And so that is about the Indian Forest Services mains examination. So the final stage in this exam is the personality test, and it is one of the most enjoyable steps in this whole UPSC process. And consider yourself fortunate that if you get a chance to visit the Dolpur house to give your personality test, so do not squander that opportunity. And even for the personality test, I did a very rigorous preparation. I did not take it lightly. I was a little skeptical about my mains performance. So I couldn't leave any stone unturned. So I put in all that I could for the personality test. I was thorough with my DAF, and even while filling your DAF, you should be very confident about your DAF, because those are the things that questions will mostly be asked from. So do not bluff in your DAF, because then the preparation becomes difficult and you may not be able to answer unexpected questions that may come up in the actual interview. So if you have put up a very nice and interesting DAF, and if you have put up an honest DAF, and if you have made if you have prepared yourself well for the personality test, then you will definitely come out across as a very good candidate, and that will help you in scoring very good marks. It is like this cherry on top of the cake, so you can score as many marks as you could. So do not take even this personality stage lightly. Give enough mocks, because then that will put you into practice of speaking to the elders, speaking in a very formal way, the gestures and the mannerisms that you need to follow. So these will all matter, and so that will be that will all be about the personality test. And you should not worry too much about the personality test as well, because it is fairly easy compared to the other 2 stages. And if you are clearing the prelims and the main stage, then you will have enough confidence to face the board. So that is all about the personality test. There are some general tips and general advice that I would like to give. These are very intangible components, but they are very important to crack this examination. First is that you should have the right guidance, because the exam process is very long and there are too many sources of guidance. And if you choose the wrong guidance, then you may lose an attempt, or worse, you will lose an year. So the right guidance becomes very important. So seek guidance from someone whom you trust very much, and somebody who has a very in-depth knowledge about this exam, somebody who has been through this process, and someone who knows the ins and outs of this exam. So if you can seek guidance from such resource persons, then that will lessen your burden, and your the whole journey becomes less difficult. So choose the right guidance, and these days guidance should not be a problem, because there are so many resources online and even offline. There are so many mentors. You can choose any one of them whom you think that they are they are well equipped to guide you in this process. So if you have that right guidance, you can always ask whenever you are in doubt, you can always ask them and clarify your doubts. And that is important because you cannot afford to do mistakes in this exam, because the competition is such that so many people appear, and your one misstep may cost you an attempt. So have that right source of guidance, and also you should also have the right peer group. If you cannot have the right peer group, it is better you study alone. But if you can have a right peer group, the whole process of studying and preparing for this exam becomes easier and more effective. So you can always discuss the whatever you study among your peers. You can give the tests together, you can compare your scores, and that will put you in a very healthy competition. And you can discuss the current affairs that you study in newspaper. So that those processes will help you in recollection and remembrance of the facts, and so that will help you. If you do not have a peer group, do not waste unnecessary. So having a good peer group always helps. And if you do not have a good peer group, do not waste unnecessarily time in socializing and chilling, because this is not the time to do all that. You should be absolutely focused. You should be very clear about your goal, and this whole process is very long, and you should not be wasting time in unnecessary things. So have that clarity and have that focus, and always be focused on what you should be doing to clear this exam, what you should be doing to improve your performance in your mocks, what you should be doing to develop that art of answer writing, or develop that art of solving the MCQs. So always be thinking about this consciously and subconsciously. Always be invested in this exam, because this is once in a lifetime opportunity, and you should not be having regrets later in the life that I could have put up more efforts, or I wasted this. So you should not be having such regrets. So whatever you have, dedicate yourself fully to this process, and you will get the results that you aim for if you put in the right efforts and with the right clarity and the right guidance. So that is with respect to the peer group. And as we know, this whole exam process requires at least 1 year of preparation, and the exam cycle itself takes about 1 year to conclude. So even if you want to clear this exam in your very first attempt, you should be ready to put in at least 2 years for this exam, and that is not a very small time. So if you are committing yourself to this exam, be ready to sustain that motivation for at least 2 years. And it is not that you will not feel ups and downs in this process. Everybody will be going through the same phase, but how you handle those situations becomes important. You should not be very deterred or discouraged by the poor performance in the mock test, or if you are not able to understand a concept, or if you are not able to make progress in the targets that you have set for yourself, because almost everybody will be going through the same phase. But that should not discourage you. You should sustain the momentum, and you should also have the right support system. It may be your mentors, it may be your peers, or it may be your parents. Talk to them, and you can also pursue your hobbies. Every day you can dedicate at least 1 or 2 hours for your hobbies. You can indulge in physical exercises, because health becomes a very important component, both physical and mental health. So ensure that you are in the right shape of body and right shape of mind to clear this exam without any difficulties. And one of the main sources of stress or tension in this exam is that you worry constantly about the results. How do I get that rank 1? How do I be in the top 50? Or how do I score marks? The trick is that you stop worrying about the result, and you start focusing on the process. And once you have set your target, that should be it. You should not be focusing too much on the target or the end goal. You should be focusing on what you should do every day. So have that schedule in front of you, make that schedule, and you should be following that. So this whole motivation comes from achieving the targets that we have set ourselves for every day. So if we complete the targets that we have set for ourselves today, then that will give motivation for tomorrow's work. So that should be the source of motivation. Your hard work should lead to motivation and not the other way around. So do not focus on the results. Always focus on gaining that knowledge, gaining the necessary skills that are required to clear this exam, building that mindset, building that personality that is most important for this exam. So if you focus on these things, the result will take care of for itself. And as I said, always you can reach out to toppers or your mentors or anybody who is well aware of this exam. You can always reach out them for help or guidance whenever you are in confusion, and that should not be very difficult. And you can always discuss with your peers who are as committed and as sincere as you are in this exam. So that will help you sustain that momentum that is required to clear this exam. And so that is all I think I can share on behalf of myself. So I wish you all very good luck and all the best for this preparation phase and as well as your exams. And I hope whatever I spoke of will be of help to at least some of you. And I'll always be happy to share my learnings from this exam. And you can feel free to reach out to me through this comment section. Thank you. So if you have any queries related to this exam and if you need any guidance, you can always reach out to Edify Academy, and Siddesh sir will be more than happy to help you with your queries. And that should be all, I think. So all the best for your exam and good luck.
Thank you so much, Pruthviraj, for sharing your knowledge towards the students. It's helped a lot to them also to improving the classes. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.